And when something has a specificity of a reference, it is telling you this particular thing has already been defined by whoever invented such.
So many of the ideas that Baba Shuaib teaches and talks about
Islam means the submission.
Have been like seeds in my head. I've thought of some of this stuff, but I have yet to find anyone in real life besides online that has ever said like what he just said, how it didn't start in the 7th century. Islam basically only following the Quran. I've had these ideas before and I've yet to come across people in my life that have agreed with things that I've thought about, or should I say expanded upon some thoughts that I've had. So that's why I'm grateful for this conversation, because so many of the things that Baba Shuaib talks about, I have thought about prior and was like, oh, there are people who have had these thoughts and then spent the past decade going in and learning about it and are willing to even teach me about it. So I'm grateful. Because this is something that my Christian friend asked me yesterday. He said, what about before, the 5th, 7th, whatever century it was when the Quran was brought and Muhammad lived? What about before then? What was happening? And like, what was Islam before then? And I didn't really know exactly how to explain it, but I was trying to say that, well, Islam has always been here. It's always been only following God. It hasn't been the traditional Islam that you see today, because that a lot of those traditions were brought and started after the time of Muhammad. But before that, it was every prophet. This is the belief of Muslims, that every prophet was a Muslim. Every human being, every species on the planet, in the sense, is a Muslim. Like, they are submitting to God. We have always been submitting to God. This is something I learned from watching this video of Baba Shuaib.
And when something has a specificity of a reference, it is telling you this particular thing has already been defined by.
I watched a bunch of this yesterday. It was so fascinating. And also,
be frequent.
Mama
when
Grace,
you earn something from your salary or
he's talking to
income or any
she's a better version of Oprah.
Your plans or anything, then you have to remember the poor. But these people will say you have to wait till when is that Eid? You know, the time that they celebrate the Eid al-Fitr, that's the time they give their zakat. So if I'm poor, I have to wait.
We got Mo in the chat. What's up, Mo? Amateur philosopher, best username in the chat. Can you ask them if there are Muslims alive right now who live in remote areas and have never read the Quran? Oh, that's an interesting question. We'll see if we get to that. All right, guys. I see Baba Shuaib. Let's go. Bringing up the correctional officer right now, guys. Give a welcome. Baba Shuaib, how we doing?
Peace to you, Grayson, and your audience, as well as my audience as well.
Peace and blessings.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for me. Are you live right now on your channel?
Yes, I think I'm streaming live on my channel. Let me confirm.
I'm grateful to get to speak to you again for the second time, and thank you for sending me. First time I've ever got a signed book from Baba Shuaib himself. Much appreciated.
You're welcome, bro.
Islam belongs to God.
Yeah. So it's confirmed. It's streaming live on my page.
Let's go.
Right.
Good.
So finally, we are here. I'm sorry to your audience. I had to run a bit late because I was trying to, beat the traffic a bit. Yeah. So we are here finally. That's the second time. Thanks to God.
Second time we're here. How long do you have today? So that way, it's just I know how much you can be here.
I think I can go max maybe a bit over an hour. Yes.
Okay.
A bit over an hour.
Okay, that'd be great. Well, you tell me when you need to go. So I'm grateful for any amount of time, especially a whole hour. So, I look forward to learning stuff from you. I know I messaged you saying that one reason that I wanted to talk, and honestly, you lead the conversation if you want to discuss things. But the only thing that I wanted to for sure hit on was asking you a Quran, if someone only follows the Quran, how do they pray? What are their traditions like? Other than that, we can talk about anything. And maybe even I should introduce myself to your audience. Should I introduce myself?
I think your audience already know who you are.
To your audience?
My audience already know who you are.
Okay, good. Well, good to see you guys again.
You know, this is the second time we are doing a public program. So like people know from the first,
True, if they were here. Yeah.
Exactly. Most of the people have actually watched. And I know anybody who will be on your page or my page already have the gist or the idea of what we represent or what we are.
Yes.
Or who we are.
I'm on a journey to figure out the truth. So
yeah. So maybe you can throw some hard punches like Mommy Grace.
That was absolutely a great podcast and show. Where was that filmed in?
I was in Ghana. I went to Ghana. I was there for almost a month.
Okay.
And so we streamed 1 week prior to the time I left Ghana. So we've streamed 1 week before I left Ghana. So within that space of the 1 week, I was expecting that after the program, I would get some calls, but the program delayed. So then, unfortunately, I had to come back to Finland because I have other activities waiting for me. So, but yes, I'm looking forward to actually going back, but I have not fixed the date yet. So yes,
okay.
Hopefully I'll go. Yeah.
So Baba Shuaib, give me 1 sec. I need to refresh my stream because it's a little bit laggy. You just give me 1 moment.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, sure.
So we have about an hour. There are many things that we could discuss. I guess like I mentioned, I just want to know what is required of someone according to only the Quran. If someone wants to become a Muslim and they only believe in the Quran, what is required of them? Because outside of that, if you follow traditional Islam, you get told that there's 5 obligatory prayers you need to do. Juma on Fridays, like Hajj, go to Mecca, and then maybe some other stuff. I just know that's the main ones. What is required of a Muslim who only follows the Quran? Is there like a long list or is it short?
First of all, I think I explained this part on Mami Grace program by trying to clarify the difference between believing and following, right? No Muslim can say, I believe in only the Quran. It doesn't work that way because according to Quran chapter 2, verse 2 to verse 5, God has actually revealed revelations in the past before even the Quran.
Okay.
So whatever the Quran confirms, remember the Quran is a confirmation of what was before it.
Okay.
So the Quran is coming here to confirm what God has ever revealed in the past. So if any statement you get from the past that the Quran confirms, whatever be the source, so far as the Quran confirms it, that is the word of God.
Okay.
So you can believe in such as well. So it's not like you believe in the Quran only. That's not the notion. But if we are supposed to use the prophet or the messenger as a role model, then the question is, which other book did he follow? Did he follow any other source apart from the source he was given? The answer is no. So if both the mainstream Muslims will also say, and us will all testify to it that he only followed the revelation given to him, and according to him himself, Quran chapter 6 verse 19, he said, وَأُوهِيَ إِلَيَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ لِأُنذِرَكُمْ بِهِ وَمَنْ بَلَغَ. That is chapter 6 verse 19. That this Quran has been inspired to him in order to warn you by it and whomever it may reach. So it is the Quran he's been inspired with. And according to Quran chapter 28 verse 85, It is God who has ordained the Quran to him. So he told him, Inna allazi farada alayka al-Quran laradduka ila mad. So the one who has actually obligated the Quran upon him or for him will bring him to a place of return. It will bring him back. That is, on the day of judgment, he is going to be questioned. And that is why, according to Quran chapter 25, verse 30, the messenger will tell God, Qala Rasul ya Rabbi, inna qawmi takhazu haza al-Qur'ana mahjura. He will tell God that my people have taken this Quran as abandoned. That is on the day of judgment. So he being the role model, he the messenger, according to Quran chapter 33, verse 21, where God says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. He the messenger is to serve as a role model that we have to follow. So the question is, this role model, did he follow on any other book apart from the book of God? The answer is no.
So what were the people following then before they got the Quran revealed?
What were they following? His people were totally kaput. That is, they were lost. His people.
Yeah, I know that the people in where Muhammad came from were like polytheists, but what about people from other
the people of the world, other parts of the world who had books from God, like the Torah. We had revelations from God, but out of the revelations, we have Torah, where there is the judgment and laws of God. Then there is Injil, and there's Furqan. God has already revealed those in the past.
Okay.
You get it. According to Quran, you can write it down. Quran chapter 3, verse 3 to verse 4. The verse is there.
Chapter what?
Chapter 3, verse 3 to verse 4.
Okay, and that says what's confirming what's before?
Exactly that. And also these are the things God has revealed in the past. He has actually revealed these things in the past before coming to the 10 of the Quran. Right? So the Quran is supposed to confirm those things as we go along. So, but the people of Muhammad were astray, including he himself. That is in the past. They never had guidance from God before.
The people of Muhammad?
Yes, including Muhammad himself, peace be upon him. That is Quran chapter 93, verse 7, where God says he found you astray and guided you.
Oh, so they didn't have anything before that.
They didn't have anything. So then when God decided to guide him, chose him and guide him, and then now send him to his people. So that is why in Quran chapter 62, verse 2, God says he is the one who has raised a messenger among the unlearned. Meaning this unlearned one, Ummiyuna, they never had any scripture from God. They never learned any scripture from God. Right? So now they have a messenger who will now teach them so that they will be acquainted with the words of God.
Okay.
You see, So if you read Quran chapter 36, verse 1 to verse 11, you get the gist of what I'm saying, that his people were astray. لِتُنْزِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنْزِرَ آبَاؤُهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ. So his people were all astray before or unaware of the revelations of God. But in the past, we had people who already had guidance. Like, for instance, even the children of Israel, God gave them the book, chapter 17, verse 2, where he says, وَآتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ وَجَعَلْنَا هُدًى لِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ أَلَّا تَتَّخِذُوا مِن دُونِي وَكِيلًا. Chapter 17, verse 2. The children of Israel were given the book of God, right? So nations already had book from God. All nations.
The Torah? What is the
The Torah actually is something encompassed with laws and judgment. You can't have judgment without laws. You can't have laws without judgment. So that is what the Torah is about.
Yeah.
Some people will say the law, but it's not only limited to law, because you can't have laws without judgment.
You mean judgment like Judgment Day? Or what do you mean?
No, judgment as in we the people within ourselves. We have to use the words of God to judge.
Yeah. Like
for a crime.
Basically the 10 commandments.
Yeah, some people will say the 10 commandments. Of course, Quran doesn't limit it to 10. Quran has a lot of laws and judgment that you have to use. So it's not limited to 10 commandments. But the point is, in order to practice the Quran, you have to first look at the role models you have, which are the prophets. So if you go to Quran chapter 4, verse 26, God has actually given you the examples of those before you and to clarify to you so that you'll be guided. You understand? So we have to always look at the role model, somebody who is ahead of you, before you.
Okay.
What did he do? How did he do?
What does it say in that verse?
Chapter 4, verse 26.
Yes.
That God intends to to clarify to us, and then to guide us to the examples of those before us, and that he may actually forgive us, like, so that the notion is to have people who are before us as examples. So that's why the Quran gives you the examples of those who existed before you, whether be it the prophet, be it Pharaoh, be it whoever it may be, whether evil or good. The example is there so that you can learn from.
Okay.
Yes. So in order to practice the Quran, the word of God, which says it is a guidance for mankind, Quran chapter 45 verse 11 is actually saying this is guidance. It's emphatically telling you that the Quran you have in your hands is guidance. But here is the gist here. In Quran chapter 2 verse 38, God actually said that after driving out Adam and his spouse, as well as the Iblis, out of the garden, he told them, go out of the garden. Now, when guidance comes from me to you, whoever will follow my guidance, he will never fear nor grieve. That is number one.
Okay.
So the question is, are we supposed to follow God's guidance or somebody else's guidance? The answer is we have to follow God's guidance, nobody else.
And what does that look like, though?
The guidance of God?
Yeah, what does that look like? I know what a modern traditional Muslim looks like today. Like, I know how they pray. I can see it.
Yeah.
What does one who only follows the Quran, what does their daily life look like? Or is it...
the daily life, it just has a basic normal life, but it's just that in between you have instances where God has given you stipulated things for you to do that you practice. Okay. So it can be within or external. You understand? For instance, when I'm giving charity, I can choose to give charity in privacy or openly. There's nothing wrong with that. In Quran chapter 2 verse 271, Quran chapter 2 verse 271, you can decide to give charity publicly or privately. There's nothing wrong. Because sometimes when you give publicly, it motivates others to take the suit to also do it. So your intention matters.
Yeah.
The intention matters. Okay, so then we have the notion of serving God. It could be in the form of you're praying to God, you are doing some act of good, righteous deed, and so on. Other people can see it, but you are not actually doing it for other people to see it. It's not because of the people you're doing it. It's because of God. You understand? So God knows what is within our bosom. So, but this modern day or the mainstream Muslims of today have actually made the religion into like a society whereby you belong to how will I say, like a union, a type of organization or something. They are trying to make it like that.
Yeah.
Whilst Islam, yes, Islam is between you and God. It's not actually between you and people. And we can use Abraham as the example. That is the one God asked us to follow his creed. So we are supposed to follow the footsteps of Abraham, his creed. So when you read Quran chapter 2, verse 131, God is asking the question God is telling Abraham by asking him, will you submit? Then he says, Aslamtu li Rabbil Alameen. And he says, I submit to the Lord of the worlds. He didn't submit to anybody else. He only submitted to the world because the Lord of the worlds will actually want to do good to your neighbor, to the wayfarer, to the poor, to the needy, to the relative. You understand? But he wants you to stand for truth and justice, regardless of the justice going on against your relative. If you are a witness, don't just say because I'm a brother today, so I cannot tell him the truth. And that is why Baba Shuaib is speaking out the truth bluntly. Yes. I don't give a damn who it is. I'll tell you.
Good.
Yeah, this is who I am. People who know me will tell you who I am. I speak it out straight. I don't give a damn who is watching. So far as I'm speaking with the words of God. If you say that is not it, come, let's have a sit face to face. That's it.
So yes. So Abraham, you're saying just submitted to God. He didn't follow any other human.
No, he wasn't following any.
Is there any type of structure to this, or it's just between you and God? But is there? I mean, I don't necessarily think that there needs to be, but is there like a Friday Juma, like where everybody goes and does this? And how does it actually look if everybody were to follow You know, if you were to be the king of an island and then you had kids and kids and kids and they all followed your way of thinking and there was hundreds of people there on an island, what would it look like? Or would it not be necessarily like this, what we see now with this happens at this time and you do this? And
you see, Grayson, God has actually laid down the foundation for us in his book.
okay.
Right? And the book contains all the prophets, most of the prophets of God, that he has given them the scripture and the prophethood and the judgment. You find the examples in the book of God. But then he chose one, the top role model, which is Abraham. Right? So when you read Quran chapter 2, verse 130, God says, وَمَنْ يَرْغَبُ عَنْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِلَّا مَنْ سَفِيَ نَفْسَهُ. He says, who will desire other than the creed of Abraham, if not one who fools himself? Just look at what God says. So that means whoever will go and follow any other creed which is not from God, which is not of Abraham's creed, the person is fooling himself. Because if God has chosen something, let's say I'm wearing this shirt, it's white, right? Mm-hmm. And God says, Baba Shuaib, wear this white shirt. Then I'll be like, nah, I like blue. What? It's obvious I'm dumb to do that. Yeah, because God is all knowing, all wise, and he is showing you the right thing or the right thing, and then you'll be like, nah, I like it this way. So that is exactly what the sectarians do. When God says this is enough, they say no, akhi, no, it's not. How do you pray? How do I pray? Still has to be between me and God.
I mean, yeah, that's interesting because that's how I grew up. Like in the Christian world, there is no way to. There's not a specific way you pray. You know, it's not a God in the Bible. It says that Jesus gave the Lord's Prayer. Like, other than that, there is no way to pray. Like, you just do it. So that, I mean, is that what it's like? Basically, it's just between you and God. You pray when you want, where you want.
Oh, no. Still, God has to stipulate all those for you. I'm not just saying you just do it anyhow you want. No.
I can't. After reading the Quran and studying the Quran and then talking to Muslims and going to a masjid and then after like 6 months of this, I basically I'm here today and I can't remember what is in the Quran. I mean, of course I can go back to the Quran, but I often am like, that's in the Quran. And they're like, oh wait, that's not in the Quran. That's in the Hadith. Like I forget what is being told to me by other people about Islam that's actually not from the Quran, that's from the Hadith. So I forget, like, what is the Quran actually saying that you should do?
They don't give you references. The mainstream, they don't deal with references from the book of God. They like to use references from the Hadith. And many a times you hear them saying, oh, the prophet, once the time a Sahaba came to the prophet and prophet said this, and one of the hadiths from Bukhari, it says that, it said this is what they do, right? But mind you, those books they are saying have not been authorized by God, have not been authorized by the prophet himself. He has no idea of those books they are talking about. They don't actually have one hadith where the prophet actually prophesied that there will be somebody called Imam Bukhari to distribute his books around. No, it doesn't exist. So that those books are not considered part of Islam.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you getting my point? It's just a scholarly position. Scholars always, they say, scholars says, ask them which scholars? Which scholars? Who is a scholar? Just name one who was in the time of the prophet. One scholar. All the scholars they are boasting of is after the prophet. That is, they weren't even at the time of it. They will mention Imam Maliki, Hanbali, Shafi, Hanafi. They never met the prophet.
Yes. No, I mean, the first time I went to a mosque ever, I saw there was hadiths, books on the wall. And this was like 6 months ago, the first time I ever went. And my first inclination was, wait, I thought this is only about one book. And still, that's been like a seed in my mind this entire time. I've never believed that the hadiths are like, need to be followed like the Quran, or in terms of the authority of it. So I am at this stage where I agree with this. I just don't know how my life is supposed to look according to only the Quran.
Oh, but let me give you a hint here. By the way, shout outs to my brother MFG, Mohammed from God. Shout outs to him. Let me give you a gist here on some of the misconceptions people have. Grayson, right now, I'm a Muslim, right? A Muslim means submitted to God. I submit to God, right? That's what it means.
Yes.
But then, let's say a Christian comes to me, somebody who's a Christian, and he says, Baba Shuaib, you know, killing an innocent soul is not good. Is a very bad thing to do. He's telling me. Me being a Muslim, I can agree with him. I can say, yes, it's very bad to kill an innocent soul. It does not make me a Christian just because I agree with what he just said. So now, many a times you see these kind of people take certain statements from the hadith and present it to you, and they say, oh, but this makes sense. If it makes sense, fine. But can he say it better than the way the Quran says it? The answer is no. So it can make sense. If you want to use it, that's up to you. But is it binding on me? Then come, let's have a seat. That's the point. Is it binding on me? Come, let's have a seat. Prove to me where those books are binding on me, or where it says I must follow those books.
Yeah, an obligation.
That's the point. So that is why I quoted chapter 2, verse 38. God says, my guidance will come to you. Whoever will follow my guidance will have no fear, nor grief. So now I'm following the guidance of God. This, what God has stipulated for me, I don't see Imam Bukhari's book inside. I don't see Imam Muslim or whatever book. These are the scholarly point of view, opinions. Mind you, the scholars will be judged, just like I will be judged. Quran chapter 33, verse 67, God says on the day of judgment, people will come and say, Qalu Rabbana inna atana sadatana wa kubara'ana fadalluna sabila. Some people will come and lament by saying, our Lord, we obeyed our masters and our leaders, but they misled us from the way. Why? Why will you just obey your masters and your leaders when Islam doesn't belong to them? Are you getting my point? If it is a factory, it's a company, then there's a boss, and the boss is maybe Baba Shuaib. Then you are binded by obeying Baba Shuaib. You have to obey Baba Shuaib because he's the boss of that company.
Yes.
Are you getting my point? But Islam, those scholars they are mentioned, who made them scholars in the first place? Who assigned them? The Prophet? He doesn't know them. So who put them in charge? This is what they don't like when you challenge the status quo.
I've noticed this too. in real life, if I say I don't know necessarily if we have to be doing this stuff, people don't like it.
That's the point. They don't like you to say that because
but then people are like, well, then how are you going to pray? And I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, it's a simple answer, by the way. I just told you we look up to the prophets and do the same thing they did. That's all. But don't let anybody tell you don't need to pray to God. It's also a foolish person will tell you don't pray to God.
Don't pray to God?
Yes.
Well, I don't understand.
No, we pray to God.
Yes.
But to say there is a fixed routine, just like the sectarians tell you, if you pray, you sit down. Look, when they sit down, there's something they do the tashahud. They sit down on their, and their hands on their laps. And then they do the finger like this, and they start doing this. According to them, they say they are weeping the devil when you do this.
The sectarians? What's a sectarian?
Sectarian is the people who have divided their religion, the Sunnis, the Shia, the so on.
I've never seen someone do that.
They do that. Come on, Grayson.
Oh, you mean like point?
Yes, they point. They look. They sit down on top of their leg like this whilst in prayer. Then they are doing their hand like this. According to them, they say they are weeping the devil.
Oh, I've never seen someone move their hand.
I'm serious. I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
No, I believe that you've seen it.
You make your research after that. I'm serious.
I'm just saying in the masjids that I've been to in Texas, I've never seen someone.
Okay, you haven't paid attention to that before. That is why. When they are doing, and by the way, when they do the tayyah, they say at-tayyatu lillahi wa salawatu wa tayyibat assalamu alaikum. This tayyah they are doing is actually, they are invoking both God and the Prophet. The reason why I'm saying they are invoking the Prophet, because they are directly telling the Prophet, Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi. Peace be upon you, O you the Prophet. They are literally talking to the Prophet in the prayer. By the way, let's put them aside. Let's deal with the examples we find in the Quran. There's a notion of prayer where you don't limit the prayer to only talking to God. It encompasses a lot of things that you do within the prayer. So when somebody asks you, oh, if you follow the Quran alone, how do you pray? Yes, you can pray when you follow the Quran alone. It's just that, the point is, when somebody has never actually experienced something, they are oblivion to it because they have no idea what that is, because they've never experienced it. Now, Grayson, let's say now I've been to Ghana and I'm from Ghana and I know how it feels to be in Ghana, and you have never been in Ghana. Then I'm telling you what can happen in Ghana, and you who has not been in Ghana before, then you are saying, nah, I don't think so. I don't think you can do that. I'm like, come on, it's possible in Ghana. We do that there. And then somebody who is in the US who has never been, he said, no. And that is exactly what the mainstream Muslims are doing.
Okay.
Are you getting my point?
No, I agree. I agree. But I want to figure out what to do. Like, I agree, and I'm not really worried about them because they're on their own path. But I want to know what I should do.
Yes, you see, look, Quran chapter 6, verse 116. Chapter 6, verse 116. God says, if you obey most of those on earth, they will mislead you from the way of God.
Yep.
Now, this is God talking to us. Why will I stoop so low and listen to a shallow-minded person out there when God is telling me this? If you obey most of those on earth, they will mislead you from the way of God. The reason is they only follow assumption and they are only guessing, because most of them just stuck with guessing.
So who do I follow then in real life?
You follow God. The point is the book of God is there as a manual. Grayson, if you are a driver and you have a car and you're going to a place you don't know, what are you supposed to use? A navigator, right?
Map.
Thank you.
Google Maps.
Thank you. You can use Google Map or navigator. So if you have the navigator will take you to the destination safely.
So what is required daily?
Daily?
Yes, because
you believe in God and act righteous.
I forget what people have told me about hadith, and it's all getting jumbled in my head. Like, what is actually required of a Muslim, not of a hadith follower, but of a
regular believer of God. The main aspect is believer, because being a believer is much more stronger than just saying I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
So when you read Quran, you read Quran chapter 10 verse 9, you can put it on the screen. Chapter 10 verse 9. I'm going to show you what is required of you.
GreatQuran.com, created by Baba Shuaib and Muhammad. Muhammad from God helped you make this, right?
Yeah, he helped me set it up.
Muhammad from God.
Yeah.
In the chat. Thank you for the support, brother.
So chapter 10 verse 9.
Is this the chapter?
Yeah, that's the chapter. You go verse 9. Yeah. Now look what God says. Indeed, those who believe and do good deeds, their Lord will guide them with their faith. You understand? Then it continues by saying, rivers will flow beneath them in the gardens of bliss, right? Now, the main aspect of a believer is this thing you're seeing. It says, indeed, those who believe. And when we say a believer, the criteria of a true believer is stated in Quran chapter 8, verse 2 to verse 4. Right?
What was that? Chapter
8, verse 2 to verse 4. We can come back to this. Just go to, yeah.
Is this how I search things?
No. Just put chapter 8, verse 2 only. Yes, click. The
believers, chapter 8, verse 2 to 4. The believers are only those whom, when God is mentioned, their hearts are fearful, and when his verses are recited to them, they increase in faith and they rely on their Lord. The ones who establish the litany, and from what we have provided them, they disperse. Those are the true believers. For them are degrees at their Lord, as well as forgiveness and generous sustenance.
Yeah. So this is the requirement. This is the believer. You need to fall in that criteria. So if you believe, this is what makes you a believer.
So that's what makes you a believer.
Yes, this criteria. There's a true believer, because there are fake believers out there.
They're fearful.
Yes. When you mention God, you don't need to mention anybody else before they say, I believe. You mention God. God is the main subject. You understand? But the mushriks, when you mention God, it's not sufficient. You have to say God and either Jesus or God and Muhammad, then they are satisfied. Because when we say when we put God as the subject, they think we are neglecting the messengers and prophets out. That's not the point. The point is, you don't put anybody next to God when it comes to God. The focus is God.
So what would the world look like if, actually, no, I don't even want to talk about other people. I just want to know what to do. So there isn't necessarily it's not, this is what to do. You need to believe this.
Yeah. This is what makes you a true believer.
Okay. So if I were to not know anything about the Quran or any religion, and I were to come to you and I say, Baba Shuaib, I think I believe in God. You know, how do I become a Muslim? What would you say? You would just say this? Well, you need to be fearful of God.
Now, the moment you think you believe in God, it means you are not sure. You have to be sure you believe in God.
How do you know if you're, how do you know?
I can prove that to you. So now, this is Baba Shuaib you're talking to. Before you put your faith in somebody, you have to test the person first. So now let's say you want to test me with money to see that if you can have faith in me. So now you give me money. You're like, hey, take this money, keep it for me. Then I kept it for you. You came back and I gave you everything is intact.
Okay.
You understand? I've established a connection of belief now, because now you can believe that, oh, Baba Shuaib actually. So by testing me, now you have opened the doors for belief.
Okay.
So now, believe in me, you can next time give me money without actually needing to verify. The reason why is because we've tested me and if you establish that connection of having faith. So faith is not supposed to be blind. Faith has to be something you investigate first before you put your faith inside. So that is why Quran chapter 47 verse 19, God says, and know that there is no God but He, only one God. You have to know. It's not about believing there's one God. No, you have to know.
But how do you know?
You know, it's an information you investigate. A book claiming to be from God and He's talking to you. It's like a letter. So that's how you know.
By investigating the Quran.
Yes, He gave you a book. It's like a letter, a message to mankind. Remember, Quran is not only for Arabs. It's for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a book for mankind, guidance for mankind. Quran chapter 2, verse 185. So if it is a guidance for mankind, the book is there to tell you about God. So you have to investigate the book, and the book is making claims. So now you have to put those claims to some tests, and then you get to put your faith there.
Okay.
You get my point?
Yeah.
So now the faith you have in God makes you a believer. But the believer, you have to believe, keep believing and acting righteous. Then God will continue guiding you. Because when you are guided in one day, doesn't mean that's the end. Somebody can claim, I'm a Quran alone follower. That doesn't mean you're guided.
Okay.
It's a constant journey. You keep going till you die. So then God will continue guiding you.
So it starts with just believing, like the verse that we just had on the screen. It starts with believing.
Not just believing, because Quran chapter 17 verse 36 says, do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. If you don't have knowledge about something, don't follow it. So that's a wisdom God has given us. Quran chapter 17 verse 36. So you can put it on the screen.
And do not pursue what you have no knowledge about. Indeed, the hearing, the eyesight, and the mind, all those will be accountable thereof.
Yes. You get it? Can you press the control and then the plus sign so it will increase yes, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do not pursue what you have no knowledge about. Then he says, indeed, the hearing, the eyesight, and the mind, all those will be accountable thereof. So what do you think is required of us from God?
What is required of, what do I think is required of us from God?
Yeah.
I think that God does not want us to put anything before him. At that moment, you become a polytheist if anything is in front of him.
Yeah, but based on this verse, the verse you just read, what do you think God requires of us from based on this verse you're reading?
And do not pursue what you have no knowledge about. Indeed, the hearing, the eyesight, and the mind, all those will be accountable thereof. Based on this verse?
Yes.
Well, he's saying don't pursue things that you don't know about.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I see required in here.
Okay, so which means he wants you to have knowledge.
Yes. He wants you to know before you start following something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is what Islam is about. That's why God said he will send down guidance.
I don't know what I know because I've gotten confused by a lot of people.
Let me tell you where the confusion comes in. I think women will understand this better. Because women, their brains work in the multi-complex way, not in a bad way. I'm just saying this because I'm talking from experience. That I'm serious. Women's brain work in the complex way. I'm still trying to understand how a woman's brain works, right? Now, let me tell you what. A woman can go to the shop with you and she will say, hey, look at this bag. It's black. Do you think it's nice? You say, yeah, it's nice. Then she'll say, no, okay, what about this white? Okay, white, you say, yeah, it's cool. Then she'll say, what about this blue one? Then you ask her, what do you want? Then she's like, I don't know. I think this one is cool. So now she will have about 4 or 5 choices, right? And then she's confused on what to choose. Do you know why she's confused? Because the choices are getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes.
Assuming if there was only one choice there, it will not go to that extent.
Yes.
So that's just an example I'm giving you. Now God gave us guidance and he says, this is my guidance, follow it. He says, my guidance. He didn't say 2 guidance or 3 guidance or 4. My guidance, follow it. But the human being, no.
Complicated.
It's like, this is too simple. It's like, do you know what these people normally say against us? They call us, number one, they call us Quranists. Number 2, they will say these people want to make Islam simple. Yeah, they say we want to make Islam simple. Now put this verse on the screen, chapter 22, verse 78.
2278?
Yes.
Am I typing it in right? Why does it not go to it?
Yeah, it's correct. 22.
And then I scroll.
No. Put the verse 22, then you put the colon, 78. Yeah.
It doesn't go
to why is it that? Okay, just scroll to the last button.
Colon like that.
Yeah, it's correct.
Okay. 78.
Yeah, 70 is here. Yeah, it's there. Okay, I got why it's happened like that. Because you maximize the page, so maybe, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So you see the verse. It says, strive for God with true striving to him. Then it says, he has chosen you and has not placed any difficulty upon you in the religion. Then he says, the creed of your ancestor Abraham. So, Grayson, did God actually place any difficulty in his religion to us?
No.
Do you think God will lie to us?
Well, if you believe in this book, he says it will not be any difficulty.
Yes.
But isn't that kind of subjective? What is considered difficulty?
Good. Now, in your religion, the faith that you're practicing with God, there's nothing he didn't place any compulsion upon you in Islam. Now, this is what people don't understand. He didn't put anything compulsory upon you. You can mention something, then I'll give you an example.
Compulsory?
Yes, like to put compulsion upon you, to make it bind by force. You have to do this.
Yeah.
In your faith, there's nothing compulsory.
In the Quran?
No, in your faith. I'm talking about the faith itself, the religion.
Faith.
There's nothing compulsory. God is not putting any difficulty upon you or making things by force on you.
Okay.
It's a choice. And when you have choice, you become a servant. You don't become a slave.
Yeah.
If God wants to force me to do something, do you think I can say no?
No.
No. But he has given me the free will. I can choose not to pray. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
So there's nothing actually, yes, God has not placed any difficulty upon you in Islam, and so has not placed any compulsion. And that is stated in Quran chapter 2, verse 256. It says, La ikraha fid din. You can put it on the screen. Chapter 2, verse 256. There is no compulsion in the deen. You see the verse?
There is no compulsion in the religion. The right guidance has become clear from the error. So whoever disbelieves in idols and believes in God, then he has held onto a certified bond which will not break, and God is hearing and omniscient.
Do you see it?
So there's there's nothing required besides.
There's no compulsion. It's a choice. When you are given a choice to do that, who is forcing you?
Nobody. To do what?
No, if he gave you a choice to either believe or disbelieve, it's a choice. Believing is a choice.
Yeah.
Disbelieving is a choice also. You choose what you want.
Yes.
But then if I choose to be a believer, the moment I choose to be a believer, God has stipulated rules for me to follow. If I still want to remain a believer, what do I have to do? I have to follow those rules.
Yes.
That's a choice still.
What are those rules?
The rules like pertaining to being a honest person, loyal person, doing good, and so on. The things that he has stipulated for you in the Quran as guidance.
Yeah. Is this just spread out throughout the Quran? Like, does someone need to go and just figure out what
It is, but you are taking from the examples of the prophets, and there are things where he has actually given you the rules and the order straight. So, for instance, when you read Quran chapter 17, verse 36, as we read before, where he says, do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge, right? So now this is a rule for a believer. God is telling me not to pursue what I don't have knowledge about, right? So now, by choice, I choose to follow God. So now I'm taking this rule upon myself. Where is God forcing me to follow this rule? He's not forcing me. It's a choice.
Yes.
Are you following the thought process I'm putting here?
I am following that it's a choice. I still don't know what's required of someone.
Requirement from God is to follow his guidance. This is the book of guidance. What is required from you when you're following his guidance? You have to practice the things he has laid down for you.
Yes.
That's what is required from you.
Off the top of my head, I don't know what the Quran says exactly you need to do besides fear God. But I don't really know what that, how do I know if I'm doing it right?
That's why you have the manual. The book is there to tell you if it's right or wrong. So give me an example of one thing you are doing in life. Then I can tell you what the Quran says.
Prayer.
Okay, you want to pray?
Yes.
When you talk about prayer, are you talking in the sense of supplication, or are you talking about what God says, things God says you should do for him?
Oh, wait, what's the difference? What do you mean?
Okay, there's a difference. Invocation, everybody does invocation. Even Iblis, the devil himself, he invoked God and he told God to respite him to the day of judgment. And God answered his invocation.
Okay, so that's like asking God for something.
Yes, asking God for something. Go to Quran chapter 10, verse 12. I show you something.
Well, that's what I mean, like how to, according to the Quran, how to pray. How to ask.
Chapter 10, verse 12. I want to show you something here. Now, look what it says in this verse. It says, well, whenever adversity touches the human being, he invokes us onto his side, or sitting or standing. But when we remove his adversity from him, he passes as if he had not invoked us for any adversity which touched him. Does it adorn? Is it adorn to the profligate what they have been doing? Now, do you see the word invoke?
Invoke.
Yes.
Dana.
Now, this kind of invocation is a prayer that you do, but this is different from saying salah.
Salat.
Yes, this is different from salah. This invocation, I can just be sitting down and do invocation and tell God, God, please, I need some food.
Okay. So like if you're driving a car, like God,
Yeah.
protect me.
Exactly. Those are also, you can term that as a prayer also.
Okay. And then the other type, a salat, is that just giving thanks?
Thank you. Now let's go to salat. Go to Quran chapter 20, verse 14.
So you can do supplication anywhere. That's what
exactly. Supplication can happen anywhere.
Anywhere, anytime.
Anywhere, anytime.
Okay. Let me just note that. One moment. So supplication. What verse was that, Baba Shuaib, that we were just on?
Now 20 verse 14. Or which one?
The one before.
Chapter 10 verse 12.
Man, you got a lot of numbers memorized in your head.
Yeah. And I still have my kids' date of birth in my head also. Most men forget that easily.
Yeah. My parents have never forgotten my birthday somehow.
That's good.
Praise God. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Indeed, I am the God. There is no God except me. So worship me and establish a litany for my remembrance.
Exactly.
And litany is what does
the salat? Yes, that's the salat.
And what does that define as?
It defines as you're doing, because it's a combination of a lot of things that you do that defines salat. It's not just one.
Okay, so it's a lot of things.
Yes, it's not only limited to supplication.
Okay.
That's invocation. No, it's not only limited to that. It's a combination of a lot of things that makes a package.
Okay, and what is that package consist of?
That's the package consists of obeisance, recital, giving thanks, glorification, praising God, a lot of things together.
Okay, so supplication is like requesting something from God.
Exactly.
Okay, and then salat could be reciting a verse, giving thanks.
Exactly. It's a combination. It's not only limited to one thing.
Okay.
Yes.
So establish the litany, establish the salat for my remembrance.
Yes.
It's the verse. Does it say another verse is when you need to do this? How often? Or is it just?
Yes, there is the time. I will give you the times for it and everything.
Okay.
There's a time for it.
Okay.
So this is what it is used for. You establish the salat for the remembrance of God.
Okay. So it's to remember how you got here and remember what life is about.
Exactly, because he has to give you certain time, because you remember you have your own livelihood. You have your family, maybe you have to go for your errands, you have to go to a job, you have to go for a lot of things.
Yes.
Yes.
What chapter number is this?
Chapter 20, verse 14.
Okay. So 20, verse 14 says, establish the other types of prayer and remembrance. That's the goal of it.
Now, and he has stipulated these times for us.
Really?
Yes, there are times for it. When you go to Quran chapter 4, verse 103. Chapter 4, verse 103.
All right, let's see if it really does say it. And when you have concluded the litany, then remember God. Oh, wait, I thought the point of the litany was to remember God. Oh, he's saying after, remember God? Okay.
Continue.
And when you have concluded the litany, then remember God, standing, sitting, and on your sides. But when you are calm, then establish the litany. Indeed, the litany is upon the believers at decreed times.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are the times I put in the footnote that you see the time.
This is why I love the Great Quran. You do this.
Thank you. But let me highlight this point. You see, the verse you are reading has a context connected to the verse above. So the upper side of the verse is just a continuation of something above. That's why you saw the remember God after that.
Okay.
But then it's giving you the times. This verse is the timeline of the prophet. It has to do with when the prophet was with the believers.
Oh, is he talking about during war?
Not actually with the believers when they are traveling around, when they are traveling on earth, and then they have to. Yeah. Now, and when you have concluded the litany, then remember God while standing, sitting, and on your sides. But when you are calm, meaning no more traveling or anything, or fear or anything, then establish the salat. Huh?
Oh, I'm confused. He's saying after you're done with salat.
Yes, because they did the salat up there. You go above, I'll show you.
Okay.
Go above. Let's see the salat they are done. Because when you read things into context, it will make sense to you.
Yes. Read this whole verse.
So this verse. No, start 102. Now see what God says.
And when you are among them, establish the litany.
Yes, for them.
For them, and let a faction of them stand with you, and let them take their weapons, and when you have prostrated, then let them be behind you. And let the other faction who have not prayed come and let them pray. You. And let them take their precaution in their weapons. And those who disbelieve wish you would neglect your weapons and your belongings, so they could attack you with a single tilt, and there is no blame on you. If you are troubled by rain or you are sick, in case you put down your weapons, but take your precaution. Indeed, God has prepared for disbelievers a humiliating punishment.
Yeah.
Is this for their times of war?
They are traveling on earth, but because of the disbelievers. You read above again. 101.
Oh, they're being okay. And whenever you travel through the land, there is no blame on you, in case you shorten from the litany. If you fear those who disbelieve may riot you. Indeed, the disbelievers are clear enemies to you. Okay.
So it's making sense. When you read the context, it makes sense.
So the Muslims are traveling or moving, and there are enemies around because
exactly.
Okay.
So these are the precautions they take during the time of the salat.
Okay.
So after the salat, you can still be remembering God, because remembrance of God is not only limited to the time of salat.
Yes.
It doesn't mean after salat, I just did my salat, then that's it, I forgot God. That doesn't mean like that. So remembrance of God has to still be there, but because God wants to have your attention for some particular times for the remembrance of God, those times are there to help you to actually refresh yourself, to feel connected with God.
Okay.
You get the point. So they have times, decreed times for us that God has given in the Quran for those times for that specific salat. So those times are the ones written in
this one.
Yes. In the
Wait, I have another question, Baba Shuaib. So when he's saying after you've concluded the litany, which the purpose of the litany is to remember God.
Yes. So and after litany still you remember.
So he's saying don't ever stop remembering God. And then no matter what you're doing, remember God.
Yes, whether standing, whether sitting, whether on your sides. But then that remembrance of God after the salat doesn't go in the same routine as the one you did in the salat.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you getting my point? So that's the point.
But then he's saying, but when you are calm, then establish the litany. Is he saying again?
Yes, when you are calm, meaning when you are calm, that's why he's going to continue the context by giving you the times for the salat.
Okay.
Meaning when you are calm, establish the litany.
Okay.
But when you are traveling, you remember when you are traveling, he said there is no blame on you to shorten from the salat.
Yeah. Okay.
You shorten from it.
Yes.
But now, if you're calm, you establish it. No need to shorten anything. You are going to establish it normally without any problem.
Yep. Okay.
Are you getting the point?
Yes. So there's context to this, what he's talking about here, because they're talking about travel.
Yes, there is a context. Yes.
Okay. So remember
the main focus is God.
Remember God during the litany, then remember him after, and then when you're calm, meaning when maybe you stop traveling, or
Yeah,
when you have time, then establish the litany again.
Yeah.
Do the litany upon you is decreed at certain times here.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, but you see, the main focus about in Islam is not about the main focus is not about salat, it's not about anything else, but your devotion to God. That is the main focus.
Yes.
If your devotion to God fails, your salat and the zakat and anything you do will be useless. Are you getting my point? Just like an asylum seeker who comes to migrates as an immigrant to USA or Europe, and he doesn't have a resident permit, but he got a job.
Yes.
The moment the police arrest him, everything he has can be confiscated. Because he gained all those things based on what? In an illegal means.
Yeah.
It
was built on a bad foundation.
Thank you. So same goes with your faith with God. If your devotion with God is kaput, everything else that you do is useless. So this is why the notion of salat and everything you see, the mainstream Muslims have created a parallel religion different from what God has stipulated in the Quran. So they do their version, which is coming from the Hadith books. So that is why they will tell you that if you follow the Quran alone, how will you pray? Because their prayer, you will not find that version of their prayer in the Quran.
Yeah.
Are you getting my point? So they have created a different religion from external sources other than what God has given in the Quran, which by this means Quran is the book of guidance. So how can Quran be the book of guidance and you tell me it cannot guide me? Does it make sense?
I agree.
Thank you. So to them, this logic doesn't work with them because they've been told by their scholars it's a programming. So they have to think in a certain pattern. You understand? So even if their scholars are not making sense, you don't dare question them. You have to be in the box and don't question your scholars. That's how they've been programmed.
Yeah, it's a matrix.
Yes. So now when you start challenging the status quo, they will be like trying to antagonize you, like trying to be hostile against you, like, hey, why you don't agree with my sheikh? Are you trying to say you know more than my sheikh? It's just a question you're asking, does it? You understand? So for me, somebody like me, they wouldn't dare want on face-to-face encounter me with that kind of arguments because I'll shut them down. Yes, I'll shut them down.
How often do you do debates with other people? Do you enjoy doing debates?
I wouldn't say debates, dialogue.
Dialogue?
Yeah, dialogue. I love dialogues. And look, I'm more critical and more more lethal physically than even online.
More little?
Yeah, lethal meaning
lethal.
Yes. I can strike a scholar with a blink of an eye physically than maybe than online. Yes.
You mean physically?
Physically, they are empty-headed. Most of the scholars you're seeing online, physically, they are empty-headed.
Like you could fight them?
No, not fight like hands. I'm talking about in terms of Quran.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Physically, they know nothing. Seriously. You see, online, that is why normally they put the books, the full collections behind them just to scare people, like to show people, look how much knowledge I have with these books. But they have no knowledge. I'm telling you, all the knowledge they have is based on people's whims and desires and opinions. So they will keep giving you the opinions of scholars. That's all they know. You see, so when you are asking, like for instance, right now that you are asking me direct questions, I go to the verses and give you answers.
Yes.
Their scholars are not good at this. They quote one verse and then they give you thousands of hadiths. One verse, thousands of hadiths. And yet they will never bring you one explanation of the prophet where he explained a particular verse. They will never bring you. They will only bring you the opinions of people. Yeah, Look,
I met with Muhammad of God one time on a stream, and he said he does this game where when he goes to a mosque, he counts how many times that they talk about hadith versus the Quran. Ever since I heard that, every time I go to a masjid, I hear them, and I think every single time it's been more hadith than the Quran. It's like barely the Quran, and they all talk about. Ever since he told me that, I was like, wait, he's right. They're like, in this hadith.
They bury the Quran. Because to them, look, superficially, they will act like they love the Quran. They will say, MashaAllah, when you convert and become a Muslim, they give you the Quran, MashaAllah. But start practicing the Quran alone and see how they become scavengers against you. They will tell you, hey, man, you can't practice this book alone. You need this. Come, let's give you this $300 books before you can practice this one. I'm serious. So to me, I'm like a threat to them. I'm like, how will I say? You know, when you are in the darkness and then the mosquito is flying around your ears, that's how I am like to them. So they hate it when you even bring me to your platform now.
Yeah, I can tell in the chat.
Yes, when I went to Mami Grace in Ghana, oh my, go and see on a page. They were setting a page on fire. It's just blazing.
Baba Shuaib, I need to use the restroom real quick. Do you still have a few more minutes to talk? Or do you need to
we can talk. Yeah, okay. I think I can give you like let me see. I can give you like 30 minutes more. Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure.
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in an undisputed hadith says, Man salla alayya wahida. Whoever sends blessings upon me once, sallallahu alayhi biha ashra, 10 times he will receive blessings from Allah. 10 times. So if you want blessings, you just need to.
Yeah, guys, let me read some comment section. I wasn't focusing on the comment section. Let me see what is going on in the comment section. Peace to you all. I hope there are no shayatins in the comment section. I seek refuge with Allah against the accursed devil or devils. So if there are any devils, please. Somebody says, Baba, you lack knowledge, brother. Thank you. No problem. Let me see. Nat Saina says, but hey, Baba, I love your accent. I appreciate that. Thank you. Quran alone is true. The Shuaib mentions Sahih Muslim 1847b to him. You know, I'm not here to promote their books. You know, those books are. Ayman Ismail says, Baba Shuaib, do you say all Sunnis are mushriks? Yes, they are. So all 2 billion Muslims, no, stop saying Muslims. I'm not talking against Muslims. I'm talking about people who have created sects, you know. So stop being emotional with your questions. Somebody says, Baba, is alcohol halal? Open the Quran and read. Why are you asking me this kind of questions? Yeah, JS, thank you. Thank you all. Guys, I see you in the comment section. Samad, Abdul Samad, I see you. Sister Shifa, I see you. Melanie, I see you. Let me see. I see somebody says, are you Shia? No, I'm not Shia. I alone cannot be Shia. I'm not Shia. I'm not part of Shia. Okay, Grayson is back.
Let's go. So, yes. To recap, you can do what is required of someone according to the Quran in terms of prayer. Supplication can be done at any time, any place. Correct?
Yes, supplication can be done anytime, any place. It doesn't matter where you are, whether in space, whether on earth, in the water.
That reminds me of the Bible, because the Bible says it says in the Bible to pray without ceasing. Never stop praying.
Yeah, you see, words have been used in the Quran, and those words sometimes has a broader concept, and certain words have a limited concept, right? So when you use the word invocation or supplication, I don't need to wash myself, do ablution or something before I do invocation to God. Are you getting my point? But when it comes to salat is the salat is the one you have to do the washing, the ghusl, chapter 5 verse 6. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu iza kuntum ila salat. When you get up for the salat, then wash your faces. That is for the salat. Because like I said, salat is not only limited to just saying supplication. You find supplication within salat. You understand? Salat is not only limited to invocation. You do recital. You can read the Quran. You read, yes, within the salat. Then you can do ruku, bow down, prostrate within salat. You do obeisance to God, praising God, thanksgiving to God. You understand? Glorifying God. It's a package. Are you getting my point? So let me give you an example of the salat. Zechariah, Prophet Zechariah, chapter 3, verse 38. Put it on the screen. Chapter 3, verse 38. I just want to give you an example.
Can we come back to this one?
This one we can come back, yes. Chapter 3, verse 38. I want to show you what Zechariah did. Yeah, here. So it says, it was there Zechariah invoked. Now, I want you to pay attention to the word invoked. He invoked his Lord. You see? In Arabic is da'a. He invoked his Lord. Then he says, Lord, grant me a good offspring from you. Indeed, you are the hearer of invocation. Now, this is invocation. This is supplication. We call it supplication or invocation. Then you go to verse 39. I want to show you something. 39. Then verse 39, and it says, and the angels called him while he was standing in the salat, meaning praying.
Okay.
Qa'imun yusalli. He was standing in prayer or praying. In the salah, he was standing, but the verse above was talking about invocation.
Yeah.
Was connected to the verse below, and it mentioned the salah.
So he invoked, you're saying this is the same moment?
Yes, same moment.
And the angels called him while he was standing in prayer.
Yeah.
In the sanctum that God gives you good news of John, confirming word from God as a leader,
stringent,
and a prophet upon the righteous.
Yes, among the righteous, yeah. You see that?
Yes.
Now, the one thing I want you to understand, there are certain groups among the ones who claim they follow the Quran. They will tell you Salat is not a ritual, it's not they don't agree with the sectarian point of view. I also don't agree with the sectarian point of view. But these people will try to twist certain words, creating their own meanings just to go against the norm of the Quran. To them, they are trying to make it seem as if there's no ritual ever existed on earth or from God to the people. So they will try to make the Quran seem as a book that you don't need to even practice anything from the Quran. Yeah. Those people also tag themselves as Quran alone followers, but beware of such people. And I dare those people to come out for a dialogue. They are still on the run.
So you're not one of those people. You believe that there is requirements in the Quran that you have to do.
There is. You look up to the prophets and the messengers. The example is that they are our role models. Quran chapter 6 verse 90. Quran chapter 33 verse 20. The messenger is a role model. The prophets, God laid down the foundations in the Quran as examples for us to follow. It is only an arrogant person who doesn't see fit to follow the prophets or the messengers as an example. I'm serious.
Okay.
And Baba Shuaib, how I draw my line between me and my opposition is by having a dialogue. I dare anybody watching. This is what I do. And my number is always there. If you like, you can put my number today. They
Your
can
phone
beat
number?
me. +358 466 803144.
Boom.
That is my correctional officer number.
Boom.
Not my private number. My private number, I want to sleep in peace because I cannot be sleeping and dreaming about some, some nice food, and then somebody will just beep me and say, "Hey, are you the hadith rejecter?" No, I don't.
Okay, the point of showing me these verses was what? I'm a little bit confused here. The point is to show me that it can be the same thing? That supplication and...
No, I mean, it comes within it, not like same thing. Like it comes within it.
But you can supplicate and then not do salat, obviously.
No. You can do supplication independently without doing salat.
Okay, but you can do it at the same time.
No, wait. Salat is, like I told you, it's a package. Within salat, you have invocation also.
Which is supplication.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Invocation.
Sorry, these words are new to me, so I'm trying
they are synonymous. Invocation, supplication, synonymous.
Okay, so you're saying so supplication is inside of salat.
Yes.
Salat is prayer.
Not limited to prayer, but in some context you can just put prayer just to make sense. But it's not limited to only prayer. Because when we say prayer, prayer means a communication with a deity. You have a communication with God. That's what prayer means.
Yeah.
Are you getting my point? So when you establish salat, because it's for the remembrance of God, at the same time we communicate with God at the same time in your salat.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so you can do supplication anywhere. And when do you need to do
the salat?
The other salats.
The salat is chapter 11, verse 114. Let's go back. I show you. Chapter 11, verse 114 talks about the times for salat. Yeah, this one. So it says establish, and initially this verse was talking to the prophet, right? But because we are taking the example, it's talking to the prophet / messenger, but because we are taking the messenger as an example, we take the message God has given him in the Quran and we practice the same.
And establish the litany. And just to be clear, the litany is
the salat.
It could be recited. Any of salat.
This is a specific salat. It says the litany. So it's a specific one God has stipulated for us, right?
Where does it say
that? Read it. Establish the litany.
The litany.
Yes. So the moment you say the is a specific thing you have to do.
Okay.
Yes.
At the 2 sides of the day.
Yes, 2 sides of the day.
Contingent that you're not traveling.
Yeah, that is if you're not traveling. You have your time. Yes.
Okay. Because there's no difficulty.
Yes.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, and establish the litany at the 2 sides of the day. And the advancement of the night.
Yes.
Indeed, good deeds eliminate bad deeds.
Yes.
That is a remembrance for those who remember.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to establish the litany. I don't really know what the litany consists of, but you need to do it at the 2 sides of the day.
The litany is what I just told you. Litany consists of recital, obeisance, glorifying God, thanksgiving to God, supplicating to God. It's a package.
But I thought you said it says the litany, so it's a specific one.
It's a specific, but I mean, it's still a package.
Oh, okay. So it's just salat.
Yes, that's what we call the salat. Yes.
Okay. So you need to basically do some form of salat at the 2 sides of the day if you're not traveling.
Okay, I'll show you what happens during the salat. This is the times for the salat, right? These are the times for the salat. These are 3 salats mentioned in this verse. 3.
And the advancement of the night. Yep.
Yeah. 3 salats.
3.
Yes. Down, you go to Quran chapter 17, verse 78.
Oh, right here.
Yes. Verse 78. Yes. Now check. It says, establish the salat at the setting of the sun until the twilight of the night. And the reading of dawn, then it says, indeed, the reading of dawn shall be observed. Then it continues to 79. Then it says, and of the night. You see, that's stay awake with it as superfluous, meaning extra. For you, perhaps your Lord will raise you to a commendable position. So that is just a further clarification on the previous verse we just read. That is chapter 11, verse 114.
Okay, so this is a fourth extra, or this is
no, it's third.
Oh, this is the third.
Yes, because the above mentioned 2 times.
Oh, okay.
At the setting of the sun until the twilight of the night, that is 1. Then it says, and the reading of dawn, that is 2. So there's a dawn time, it's dawn time and evening time. So that's 2. Then of the night, that is 3. So it's 3 salats.
But I thought it was saying this one's optional or extra.
Yes, it's extra, but that's 3 times. It's 3 times for the salat. Yes.
Okay. But in the other verse, did it say it was optional?
No, here is because all the verses we are reading is talking to the prophet direct.
Okay.
So in this verse, you have 3 salats, which is complementing the chapter 11, verse 114. 3 also.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
So it's just 3.
So at sunset, at the setting of the sun.
Yeah.
Wait, what is considered twilight? What is twilight?
Twilight is like a dusk, like let's say gloomy, like when it's getting to the sun after the sun goes down.
Okay, so when the sun is setting.
Yeah.
And then until it's dark.
Yes. Then that's one prayer. Then after that, there's night and then there's dawn. So 3.
And then after that, establish a litany at the setting of the sun until the twilight of the night.
Yeah.
And the reading of dawn.
Yes. So the reading of the dawn is an indication, which shows that there's a prayer also. That's a fajr. That's a salat at the dawn time.
Okay, so basically, when the sun is setting, pray, and when the sun is coming up, pray.
Thank you.
Okay?
Before the sun comes up, not the sun is coming up. Before
the sun comes up.
Yes.
So you beat the sun.
That is dawn time.
You beat the sun.
Yes. So then the night time, that is the superfluous. The one in the night is the superfluous.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of exciting. So you start and end the day, the sun.
Yes.
So you're up before the sun, and you're up, and you are aware when the sun is going down.
Thank you. So you've already sung your praises to God and done everything. So now you are in the space by communicating with God. So you feel fresh. You feel like you are in communication with God.
Wow. Okay. That excites me because I want to start waking up early in 2025 because I barely ever see the sunrise.
You can set the time. You can set a goal. I hardly sleep early. I don't sleep early. So sometimes I stay awake till morning time. I pray before I go to sleep. Yeah, I hardly sleep in the night because all my works, I do it in the night. I study, I do my editing, everything, reflection, everything in the night. That is the best time to remain focused. Nobody will disturb you. My kids will be sleeping. Nobody will disturb me. Yeah. So it gives you time to even meditate.
Yeah.
Yes, but I do make up for the sleep. I don't just let the sleep away. I make it up in the daytime when I'm free or something. So I just make it up. Wow. But the most important aspect is, you get to understand the guidance of God, what He instructs before you practice the deen. You know what? Let me show you how you read the Quran to understand. When you are reading the Quran, don't read it as just a storybook or a book. You study it, and when you are studying, look for subjects. So let's say you want to study about salat. Then you can go all over and study and take the verses that talk about salat and group them together in one place. So as for what happens in the salat, let me show you a summary of it. You go to Quran chapter 19, verse 58.
You mean during the Salat?
Yes. Chapter 19, verse 58. I just want to show you a summary of what happens during that.
Yeah, because I was about to say, if I were to go to do that now, I think I would be doing the verse where it says, don't do things that you don't have knowledge of. I would just be thank you.
Yeah. So now, when you read this verse, it says those are the verses started from above, tells you about the prophets of God, right? From above. Yeah. But no need to read from above. But I'm just showing you that verses above talks about the prophets till it comes down. Then he says, those are the ones whom God had favored among the prophets, from the descendants of Adam, and of those we transported with Noah, and of the descendants of Abraham and Israel. Then he says, and of those we guided and chose. Then he says, when the verses of the gracious were recited to them, they fell down in prostration and weeping. Which shows their submission to God. Right? So the verses are recited to them because it takes somebody leading the Salat to recite the verses.
Yes.
You understand? So if it is a prophet leading the Salat for the people, he will now recite the verses to the people. If it's you alone doing the Salat, then you recite the verses to yourself. Because the message comes from God to you, the human being.
And this is for both the sunset and sunrise prayer?
Exactly. After reciting the verses, now you fall down in prostration, showing your submission. It's not a must for you to weep, but sometimes naturally it comes. It does happen to me, and a lot of the audience can testify to that. It comes naturally. Sometimes you'll be weeping.
Yeah.
Yes,
Amen.
naturally. Yes, and so now you go to the next verse and see how people missed this.
Well, what was the verse we were at before?
The verse we just left.
Where it said the times of prayer?
Chapter 17, verse 78. And
70, verse 78.
Up to 79. And then chapter 11, verse 114.
Okay. What was the next verse?
The next verse is chapter 19, verse 58 to 59. The same chapter we just read right now. Chapter 19, verse 58. Then we read the next verse. It's connected to the verse above. It has a context. Now, what God is telling you concerning the prophets, after showing their submission, when the verses are recited to them in the Salat, and then they did the obeisance, after that, then God says, but the successors, that is those who succeeded after these prophets, who came after them, they lost their Salat. The litany, they lost it and followed desires. Meaning they started doing their own thing, something different other than what the prophets also did. So we are supposed to take the mantle by following exactly what the prophet did. Then some people just came after, then they followed their desires.
I still don't get exactly what they did, though. They recited verses?
They recited the verses of God to them, and then they fell down in prostration. So that is the sujood. You go down to show your submission to God.
Yeah.
Some people will say God doesn't need it. Well, that's up to them. They shouldn't do it. That's up to them.
Okay.
If they think God doesn't need it, that's up to them. But we are not arrogant. We follow the footsteps of the prophets. What they did is what we are doing.
So sunrise, sunset, recite the verses.
Yes.
Any verse you want, just recite.
Oh, you read what is easy. For instance, Quran chapter 73, verse 20 gives you the gist. Chapter 73, verse 20, you read what is easy from the book of God.
Indeed, your Lord knows that you get up less than 2/3 of the night, half of it, and 1/3 of it, and so do a faction of those with you. God has estimated the night and the day. He knows that you may never calculate it, so he has forgiven you. Therefore, read what is easy of the Quran. He knows that some of you will be sick and others will be traveling in the land seeking for the favor of God, while others will be fighting in the way of God. So read what is easy from it, and establish a litany and give the charity, and lend God a good loan, and whatever you send forth for your souls of good, you will find it with God, which is better and greater reward. And seek the forgiveness of God. Indeed, God is forgiving and merciful.
Yeah. You see that? So you read what is easy. What is easy for you, you read, because it's the message of God. You can make a plan, a reading plan that, okay, I'm going to read these chapters this day. The next day I'm going to read this chapter in Masalat. The next day I'm going to read. So you're having that, you're in constant connection with God.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, that helps a lot. So you pray during sunrise, sunset, and it is not obligatory, but you can pray during the middle of the night.
Yeah, the middle of the night is good is recommended, but sometimes you miss it because God has pardoned you. It says clearly in this verse when you read it. It says 2/3 of the night, and so do a faction of those with you. And it says God has estimated the night and the day. He knows that you may never calculate it. So he has forgiven you.
If you never do it, or if you just sometimes miss it?
So sometimes you can miss it because it depends. Sometimes you can even be in a country that doesn't have night time.
True.
Yeah. So he has pardoned you on that. Because he talks about 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3, and half of it. Some countries might not have night time based on the season. So how can they calculate that? They can't.
What does he mean? He knows that you get up less than 2/3 or one of
He's
the
talking
night?
to the believers.
That they're awake for 2/3 of the night?
Yeah, during the night, it's a timing. Like you get up during the 2/3 of the night. It doesn't mean you are standing throughout 2/3.
Oh.
No.
Some believers will get up in the middle of the night and then go back to sleep.
Exactly. After they get up, they do the prayer, then they go back to sleep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that getting up at night is more powerful. If you need favors from God, that is the time you need to actually get up and tell God what you need. And I give you an example. Read chapter 39, verse 9 to see that.
I was about to say, does it say that? Where did you get that?
Read chapter 39, verse 9. You see that.
And the one who is obedient during the night, prostrating and standing, being cautious of the hereafter, and hoping for the mercy of his Lord. Say, are those who know equal to those who do not know? Only those of intelligence will take heed. He is the one who is obedient during the night, prostrating and standing, being cautious of the hereafter.
So are those who know equal to those who do not know?
What does that mean?
Yeah, because the one who knows the benefit of getting up in the night, during the night, and standing and prostrating to God in the night, knows the value of getting up in the night. That is why God actually made it as a superfluous, because some people will not get up in the night. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
They are so lazy at that time, enjoying their dreams.
So you pray sunrise, sunset.
Yeah.
Or I don't mean you. I mean someone who wants to follow the.
Yes.
Sunrise, sunset, and in the middle of the night, if you would like to.
Yeah.
It's
recommended. I won't say if you would like to, but it's recommended.
Recommended you pray.
There's no burden on you when you miss that. No.
So what's considered the middle of the night? Like if the sun sets here at 6 o'clock and it's 10 p.m., is that the middle of the night?
It's 10 p.m. No, it has to be very, very dark outside.
Well, it is very dark. Like the sun.
Yeah. So when you start counting, for instance, God says half of it. We have 24 hours in a day. So depending on where you are, the night time, how many hours it takes to get very dark, you have to count that and see which time is the half. Because that's why God says He knows that you may never be able to calculate that.
Oh.
Yeah. For some people, it will be extremely difficult. For instance, in Finland here, in the summertime, sometimes we have just 3 hours of the night or 2 hours of the darkness. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes, to be honest.
So you can't calculate what's the middle of the night.
Exactly.
So God says, don't worry.
Yeah, He has forgiven you for that. He has pardoned you because it's not my doing. So
he's saying just pray in the middle of the night.
Like I said, it's not the reason why God made it superfluous, so that it will not be punishable for some people who are based in places maybe they cannot calculate.
Okay.
So that's why it's not binding.
But it is binding to pray sunrise and sunset.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is binding. Yeah.
That is binding.
On the believer.
During that prayer, you should be reciting.
Yeah, you need to recite, yes.
Okay.
Because all the prophets, that's the position, that's the terrain they followed. So to summarize this before we end, go to chapter 32, verse 15. It is going to give you the summary. Chapter 32, verse 15.
Only those who believe in our verses are those whom, when reminded thereby, they fall down in prostration and glorify with praise of their Lord, and they are not arrogant.
Exactly. Now, do you see why God mentioned the notion of arrogance there? It will take an arrogant person not to fall down in prostration to God.
Yeah.
The person will willingly do it for another human being, for a president, for Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. They are willing to bow down and prostrate. But for God, they say, no, God doesn't need my prostration. It takes an arrogant person not to do that. Yeah. So this is the prayer according to the Quran in summary. That's why God started by saying only. So Salat is for believers only. And only a believer would do that. Somebody who is not a believer, they just left with their whims and desires.
Yeah. So there's not like a time length of how long you need to be reciting verses, is there? It's just
reciting. No, there's no time length. No.
Recite something.
Yeah, you recite something, but you're not just reciting and then you go. You read something to understand the Quran. It's a message to you.
Yeah.
So it's a time to have a connection with God because it's a remembrance time.
Reading in the night.
Yes, also in the night you can read. Yeah, when you click back, it will just disconnect.
Huh. 70. Does that not exist?
70 what? 70:23.
Oh.
Sorry. Which verse are you looking for?
The verse where it tells you when to pray.
Oh, it's 1778.
Aha.
Yes, exactly. Imran Khan. Salat is only for believers, not for everybody.
Establish the litany at the setting of the sun until the twilight of the night, and the reading of dawn. You're saying read at dawn.
Reading the Quran, meaning reading Quran means reading.
Yeah, but not necessarily reading at night. But you should, according to the other verse, you should be reciting.
Oh no, you can recite, you can read, because the reason why you recite something is because you know it too much that it's from your memory. The reason why you read something sometimes is because you haven't memorized it. So you have to hold the book and read. There's no qualms with that. You can read, you can recite if you want. Sometimes I recite my prayer from my head. I don't need to hold the Quran and read.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the point.
So for someone who's beginning this journey, I used to not be super worried about, am I doing this right? Am I praying right? Am I doing this right? But ever since I started learning about basically hadith traditions, it's gotten in my head like, wait, am I doing this right? Did I do enough? And I'm like, this is fake. But I want to follow this. But going from not praying at evening and night, if I want to start praying at evening and night, do I need to be super religious about it? Like, I need to read something right now. What do I order?
Evening and dawn, evening and morning.
Evening and dawn.
Yeah, you can do it night also. Yeah.
But it doesn't need to be something that, I guess the Quran says it doesn't need to be something that's difficult.
It's not difficult, no. Look, let me give the simplicity part of it. Islam is simple. It's not difficult. But it is the people making it difficult. When you're going to the gym and you have set up your mind to go to the gym, does it become difficult anymore?
When you say you're going to go to the gym?
Yes, when you have set your mind to actually go to the gym, maybe 2 times in a week or something? Does it become difficult anymore? You're used to it. It becomes a routine.
Yeah.
So you're used to it. Where's the difficulty?
There's not. If you just
yes,
go,
because when a believer knows the reason why he's doing the salat, but a mushrik and a hypocrite doesn't know the reason why he's doing. Yeah, a lot of the Sunnis and the mainstream you see, they do the salat, they don't even know what they are saying.
But why are you so worried about them?
I'm sorry, because in the mainstream, no, just imagine you are in the house that the fire is consuming the house, and there's a lot of people. You are safe, and the fire is consuming. Wouldn't you want to save people out of the fire?
Yes. Oh, so you want to save them?
I'm not saving them. I'm saving the intelligent ones among them. Yeah. I'm not here to save everybody. No.
Yeah.
Because if I have to save everybody, pull me back. They will pull me like this. Imagine being on top of a hill, a cliff or something, and you're trying to pull people up. And then what strength can you use to pull everybody up? They will pull you down when you all grab your leg.
Yeah. Well, I understand now what you're supposed to do for prayer. Is that really? Yeah. I know there's charity, but what else is obligatory? Because we could save this for a future discussion, or I can research it on my own. But
the charity is you have to give the due when it's time for harvest. Chapter 6, verse 141. When you earn a salary or when you make a harvest, then you have to help the poor and the needy around you.
Okay. So
yeah.
What
because
else,
God has
what
given
else is
you
required is, I know I've seen you, I haven't watched the video, but I know you made a video about how, like, is Hajj required if you have the means?
Hajj is if you only have the means, but it's not mandatory. No.
Okay, so if you have the means. What else is mandatory? I guess maybe not big things that happen every now and then. What is mandatory daily? Prayers? What else?
Or mandatory, I would say, as a believer, you know your responsibility. Let's say you go to a workplace. You're working at a workplace, right? You have a routine that you have to do as a worker.
Yes.
So that routine, for a believer, it becomes a routine. We don't say it's like mandatory. When you say mandatory, let me tell you why I'm saying there's no something mandatory in Islam. If you go to Quran chapter 18, verse 9, and you read up to verse 21, there is a youth in the cave who slept for 309 years.
What?
They slept for 309 years, according to the Quran, right? Now, this young man, this verse you are reading, verse 10, they slept for 309 years. Now, in their time, when you go to verse 21, there is a masjid, there's a mosque at their time. Now, sleeping for 309 years, does it mean they are going to make up the missed salats? The salats they missed for 309 years, are they going to go to hell? Or is God going to punish them for it?
I don't know.
No. They are not guilty. They are not guilty of that. They slept for 309 years.
You mean two people did, or you mean a group of people?
People in the verse. They slept for 309 years, and the salat passed them for 309 years. Imagine missing salat for 309 years. How are you going to make it up? Compensate for that?
Yeah.
But the Sunnis and the mainstream will tell you are going to hell because you missed 309 years of salat. According to them, their scholars say when you miss one salat, you are going to hell for no reason.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Oh, they say that a lot. The Sunnis watching right now, they know that. I'm not joking. They say if you miss salat, you are a kafir.
So so it's not even, I thought it was obligatory to pray.
No, so I'm telling you, a believer knows what he's looking for in salat. It's for the remembrance of God. But when you are sleeping and it's gone, what can you do? Can you get it back?
Yes, but
it's gone. The only thing a believer should not allow to happen is don't let entertainment or your business or something distract you away from the salat. Because a believer knows what salat is about. So will you put entertainment before God?
Would I?
Will you put entertainment before God?
I pray no. No.
So you have to put God first. That's the point.
Put God first.
Yes. It's time for prayer. Go to pray. Then you come back for anything. When you watch my program with Mami Grace, I was telling Mami Grace that some people who are asking her question that the women are complaining that when it's time for Salat and they are on heat, they want to maybe copulate with their husbands. The husband will say, I'm going to pray and come back before. And I said, yes, you go and pay attention to God first.
Okay, so if you were doing, would you ever, for example, how strict are you about this though in other people who follow the same, who are, what do I call you, a traditional Muslim?
I'm not a traditional Muslim.
What Muslim?
I'm a simple Muslim who follows the book of
Muslim.
God.
Okay, so simple Muslims like you, if someone asked you to do, if the sun sets at 6:30 and someone asked you, hey, do you want to do a podcast from 5 to 8? Would you?
Then I'll skip the time. I will make the time go to a time that it will not affect me.
Okay, so you don't miss it. You try not to miss it.
Yeah. You try not to miss it. But when you are in terms of fear, in terms of fear, there's a way to do the Salat even without actually standing or prostrating or bowing down or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We can go in depth in that the next time when we have the time to do that. I can take you through and show you how all those things. When you're traveling, there's a way to do the Salat by remembering God without you not necessarily standing or prostrating or something.
Yeah. Okay.
But you just remember God within you. Chapter 7, verse 2.
Outside of those prayers, though, what else is there obligatory during the day that I could research after this so I can let you go?
During the day, the constant ones, that is the praying and then the zakat. The zakat is something you do
Praying,
to purify your sins. Yeah, that's a regularly God has mentioned.
Yeah, the regular one.
And give the zakat. That's regular. Okay. But like I said, believing in God and you act righteous, the righteousness is stipulated in the Quran what you need to do in the act of righteousness. Is all over the Quran. And that one, for instance, Quran chapter 2, verse 171. You can put it before I go. Chapter 2, verse 171. 177. 177. Yeah. Yeah. So it says, righteousness is not to turn your faces towards the east and the west, but righteous is one who believes in God, the last day, the angels, the book. And then he says, and the prophets, and gives money upon love for it to the relatives, the orphans, the poor people, the wayfarer, the beggars, and for the slaves. And they establish the Salat and give the zakat, and they fulfill their agreement whenever they make an agreement, and they are patient in misery, adversity, and in times of fear. Those are the ones who are truthful, and they are those who are the pious.
Baba Shuaib, I'm inspired. You know, in 2025, God willing, I wanna commit to waking up and seeing the sun every day because it feels right. Just like the Quran, just like you point out to me.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. By the way, I know me coming on your platform, sometimes it offends the sectarians, but who cares? Let them keep raging in their space. They have the right to spew their mind. I'm okay with that.
Very true.
I'm actually living a better life and feeling good. And thanks to all those who support me, it helps me keep moving. You see, I don't feel like I'm stressed about anything.
Amen. Well,
yeah.
The people who do want to support you, how can they support you? Through your book?
In terms of my book, they have to go to the greatquran.com, that the Great Quran with the K. They go to the page. There's a link where if they want to grab a copy, it's available there for grabs. Yeah, for those who need the PDF version, if they have my phone number directly, yes, I can give them a copy. But normally it's there if you want to support, because how
can they support you as an individual?
And as an individual, I have a PayPal. If you search me by Bush2G9, or they can buy me a coffee on my page. Yes, that's the support. I appreciate that, but mainly all the support normally I get, unless if I'm in a stressful time. But all the support I get, I channel it to my country, Ghana. Normally I do the charity works there. So most of the support I get, most of it, that's where I channel it, because I have people who need it more than me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But lately, because I had a car accident lately, but yes, I have people who show me support, and I think that should do the work. And thanks to my brother MFG, and I have people who are willing to support Imran Khan and so on. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. God bless you all. I appreciate that. Grayson, as you know, you have my link to my pages. So I know the people, I'm streaming live at the same time on my page. So they will see on my page also. Please, the audience, your audience, I'm telling them to exercise some patience. Sometimes when you listen to people, when they say things you don't agree with, try to look into it. Somebody says in the corner, he says he wants some money. Then tell your scholars to leave social media if they don't need money. All the scholars of the sectarians, they are actually monetize their pages on social media. So, Grayson, are we not all swimming in the same water?
Oh no, we definitely are. I mean, I'm the one who brought that up, how to support you, not you didn't bring it up.
That's the point. I never mentioned that. Grayson brought it up, but somebody. This is what I love about sectarians. They are so petty, like they just want something to feed on. You understand? To make it a point.
It's just
please,
silly. I mean, it's
ladies and gentlemen, Grayson, thank you for your time. I appreciate.
Yes. No, thank you for your time, Baba Shuaib.
Yeah. I appreciate the platform.
I know you spent many years of your life studying the Quran and dedicating your life to God. So
I do every day. I still do. Sometimes my kids, my daughter will be I'll be staring at my phone reading something from the Quran, and she'll do this. Hello, Baba. She said, you translated the Quran. Why are you still reading the Quran? I said, I tell her, you don't know, because people are buzzing me, my phone every time, my computer. I need to respond to people. I try my best, but I know I cannot save everybody.
Well, you've been a light to me, because I've had thoughts about how some of this doesn't make sense, and you're the first person that I found online that I looked up to that was basically telling me that it's okay to follow this book directly and not go from outside sources, because I kind of thought I was crazy. Like nobody else that I found around me was agreeing with these things or able to teach me. They were just pushing me towards the hadiths. So I remember, I think his name was like Mr. Cruising Tooth. Someone was on my stream and said, go look at the correctional officer's page. That was the first time I came to your page. I typed something and you're like, and then I think you knew of my videos and you said, I knew the time would come. And I was like, who is this guy? And then next thing you know, we're friends and you send me this, your transliteration of the Quran, and I get to learn from you. So I'll let you go. I know you have to go. I'm just very thankful for your time, Baba Shuaib.
Don't worry. I appreciate that. And God bless. And we keep in touch, so I'll make time for you again, inshallah. Then, so till we meet again, my regards to all the audience, my people.
Yes.
We have JS, Brother Imran Khan, MFG, all the people in the comment section. I appreciate you. Whether you hate me or love me, well, let it be. If God supports me, none can defeat me, whether you like it or not. By the way, my phone number is there. Let me mention it once again. The mushriks, if they want to call, I'm available. +358 466 803144. Let your scholars give me a call. I'm waiting on the backside. Thank you. Grayson.
Thank you, Baba Shuaib. Peace and blessings.
Peace.
Hey, shout out Muhammad from God. This is crazy. This is crazy. I don't know if this was on I don't know how this works, if this goes to Baba Shuaib because I know we're streaming together. Muhammad from God, thank you for the support. Thank you for supporting these conversations, guys, because I'm a 22-year-old kid from Texas. I'm on a journey to figure out what's true. I have an open mind about anything and everything. Maybe that's not so good sometimes. However, my open mind has led me to Islam. Quite interesting. It's led me to realizing that religion is truth, God is real, and I'm trying to find the only religion that cannot be deconstructed. And for now, it seems like only following God is the true religion. And that is the only religion that only follows God that I know of is Islam. But not even traditional Islam, because it's, in a way, worshiping the rituals of Muhammad. But I mean, like what Baba Shuaib is saying today, that's where I'm currently at in my religious journey. So what I learned today, though, is I got to get up early. Is Muhammad from God still in the chat? We should stream together today. Is Muhammad from God here? Let me figure out where my telephone is. Follow the one. Now I just have so many questions because there's so many things in the Quran that I haven't, I don't know if I've heard it from Hadith or the Quran. What's up, Sifa? Oh, Sifa, you're a member? I didn't realize that. Hey, Sifa. Sifa, thank you for being a member. Are we still live on the correctional officer's channel? Let me go check because I don't know if he wants me to stay live on his channel. Yo, I got to start waking up early. That's the best thing that I learned. I got to start waking up early. Oh, there's still people here on Baba Shuaib's channel. Yo, I'm taking over Baba Shuaib's channel. I'm taking over Baba Shuaib's channel right now. Don't kick us. Guys, I think the stream on Baba Shuaib is on his end. Oh, okay, I'm going to remove it. You guys need to come over here to this stream. All right, we just got another unsubscriber. Oh, Usman, you have to wake up and start your day with Fajr, brother. Amen. Got to wake up, got to get praying, got to get prayed up, got to get locked in. First day, you got to start the day and you got to end the day. That is Islam. Start the day, end the day. Start the day with the sunrise. Say, thank you, God. Alhamdulillah. All praise to God. God, give me everything. End the day. Thank you, God. Read some verses. There's so many more things that I want to ask him, though. Like, I want to ask, what is the Injil? I know on God Logic's channel, he has a thing. It's called, what is the Injil? What is the Injil? And, like, I agree. What is the Injil? Where is the Injil? Bro, if one more person asks me this question. Okay, let me get off the correction officer's channel so I don't hijack his stuff. Guys, everyone on the correction officer's channel, I'm going to send you all a link if you want to come keep hanging out on my channel. If not, I really thank Baba Shuaib for allowing me to be on his platform. I got to say, if you come over to my channel, it's a little bit of a younger audience in the chat. They're a little bit crazy, and they're all mad at me for talking to Baba Shuaib, which is pretty interesting. They only want me to do what they want, you know? But hey, that's what freedom of speech is. If you come join my stream, come join my chat. You can say whatever you want. As long as you're not spamming, you can say whatever you want. You can say the rudest things. I mean, you can say whatever you want. We got our moderators like Sarah and Latif. Shout out Sarah and Latif for being moderators. Thank you guys for following the directions and not muting anyone who is simply sharing their thoughts, but only muting someone who is spamming. That's the beautiful part of my stream and my chats. I don't mute anyone or do anything like that. So First Amendment, Mia Thornton, that's correct. Freedom of speech. Because, and you know why I do that is because there are people who don't want me to be saying what I'm saying. So if at any point, if someone restricts your mouth, if you restrict anyone else's mouth, then your mouth is obligated to be restricted. That's why the founding fathers came to the USA and said, you know what, freedom of speech, First Amendment. All right, let me send you guys this link to my current live. All right, I'm sending it over here in the chat on Baba Shuaib's channel. Come join me because I'm about to end it on his side in a few moments. Melted cheese in the chat. Whoa, waiting for you in Saudi Arabia. Yo, that'd be sick. Hey, melted cheese with the gifted. Hey, I'm signing out on correctional officer's side. Peace and love. Peace.